Hi, today we're going to talk about a special category of bully, the frenemy, the friend who is behaving like an enemy. So this is a friend who is treating you disrespectfully, abusing you, pranking you, hazing you, completely causing you much stress and grief and a lot of unnecessary tension and ugliness. Before I get to my opinion about this type of a friendship, let's point out a couple social situations where frenemies are easily observed. One is in a fraternity in college. Okay, you're supposed to be there with your friends. Those are supposed to be your friends in the fraternity. But they say, hey, you want to be part of our friend group? You got to let us treat you bad. So what they'll do is typically you got to go to homecoming dressed as a woman if you're a man. Oh, that's very funny. Okay, you've got to do some, you've got to overdrink. They treat you like a slave, right? Like you wash their clothes, you do the house chores because we're hazing you. This is an initiation, right? They're hazing you. You don't need any of that to go to college. I went to college and I didn't join a fraternity. I just had my off-campus housing and I lived my life. I went to class. You don't have to join that stupid fraternity. Yes, I said stupid because all of that behavior is stupid. It's dangerous. People have died from hazing. But more importantly is you got to ask yourself what type of person you are to accept abuse like that from anyone. So you are being a victim because they convinced you, hey, we all had to do it. You have to be a victim. But then guess what? Next year you can be the bully. That's how you got suckered into this? Really? You got played as a fool because they said, let us abuse you for a year. And then next year you get to abuse someone. In both scenarios, you are a loser because if you allow anyone to abuse you, in my opinion, you're a loser. And if you look forward to being a bully on some strange student that comes next year because they're freshmen and now you're the sophomore, you get to be the bully. If you look forward to that being a bully, you are a loser. And so unlike the other classes of bully where I give you helpful advice on how to stop the bullying, in this scenario, the frenemy, my advice is you have to do a self-inventory about who you are and how you want to live your life. And what you're doing is, in my opinion, shameful because you're allowing people to abuse you for a foolish reason. So, yeah, it's foolish. And you feel miserable when your friends pick on you, right? Don't you feel bad? Well, if they're friends, why are you hanging out with them if they make you feel terrible? Okay, so here's we mentioned the fraternity, right? So another social situation where I see a lot of bullying, okay, is, remember my background, drugs and crime. So I see gang members bullying each other. okay? And here's how it works, right? Like, first you're a prospect for a gang, right? And they do the same thing, similar to the hazing. They treat you like you're lower than the gang members, and they send you on errands, and they send you on missions that are not like, go tag and risk getting shot. Go tag into the enemy's neighborhood, right? Or start checking people on the street. Hey, where are you from? You could get shot doing that. But you're trying to earn your stripes to get into the gang. And then on the day that you're going to get into the gang, they all beat you up. It's called getting jumped into the gang. So they all beat you up, right? And you're all, great, I'm in the gang now. Okay, you're in the gang that you can never leave. The only promise that the gang has given you is that blood in, blood out. And they will routinely tell you what you can and cannot do for the rest of your life until you find the courage to say, I'm done, I'm out of this gang, I'm walking. But even that carries a lot of risk because they don't like it when you leave. So there's a lot of politics involved. And the bottom line is this, is I see gang members treating each other badly in the name of, it's their frenemies. Or if you're a homie, you're supposed to accept it, I guess. Accept the abuse. I see a lot more homie horseplay, rough play, fighting, disrespect in the name of homie love, okay? And when you are, okay, they have what you want. They are a gang and you want to be part of it. And maybe you already have, set your life on following this gang. So you have to do what they say, how they say, and they will, they're not famous for compassion or niceness, and they're going to abuse you, okay? And many, not all gangs, but many, okay? So be aware that, as a soldier in a gang, you're going to be asked to do a lot of things that, oh, man, this is what friends do to each other? Okay, there's a lot of cringy stuff there, okay? For example, in a gang, you may be asked to shoot someone. You may be asked to be a getaway driver in a robbery. These are things you cannot say no to, okay? That's how friends treat each other. No, they're going to put it in a different package. They're going to sell it to you like this. You wouldn't do that for a homie? You wouldn't do that for a homie? What kind of a homie? They're going to act as if you owe them this honor of risking your freedom and your life for them. They don't ever say, they flip the script so that you are the one who says, hey, can I be the driver? You put your hand up, oh, I'll do it, because you've been brainwashed to whatever the gang wants, they get. Yeah, they got you good, okay? Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about when I was a young man. I told you I was involved in drugs and crime. I was a drug dealer. So the friends who came to me were drug users. And I didn't have a whole lot of respect for them. But I did treat them better than the gangs. Because if you were a young white guy wanting to score some dope, and you went to the local gang, right, the East Siders, they would rob you. They would give you money, and then they would just never give you nothing. They would rip you off. I didn't rip you off, but I did have, I was a frenemy. And what does that mean? Well, the worst things that I did, I think, okay, if you came to my house to buy drugs and your girlfriend and she was pretty, I'd try to hit on her. I'd try to, okay? So I slept with a lot of girlfriends and, hey, homie, what's the matter? Share something, It was disrespectful, highly disrespectful to hit on your girl when you came to my house. That was disrespectful. I wasn't your friend. I was disrespecting you, and you were allowing it to happen. Okay, another thing I did when I was a young hoodlum was if you got drunk and passed out at my house, this is something that a lot of fraternities do also. I would take a lighter and set your hair on fire, or I could super glue your fingers together, or draw on your face with a Sharpie, things like that. And I was the one who sold you the drugs to get you high and you knocked out, okay? So I showed a deep lack of respect for my friends, okay? I remember the first time I bought a stun gun, and it sounded fun, but I didn't want to shock myself, so I invited a friend over. His name was Matt. And when he wasn't looking, and he'd go, and so why did Matt keep coming to my house, right? Oh, by the way, Matt was one of those friends, I swear, I'm not lying, who I slept with his sister. His sister came over and I slept with her. I didn't treat her good. I didn't girlfriend her. I slept with her and then dumped her, and Matt still was my friend. That's a terrible way for one friend to treat another. Do you agree or not? Because what you're willing to accept, I would never accept that friendship. Why did people like Matt? There were many people like Matt. Well, one reason was because I was selling them drugs. So they had a safe place to use drugs. If they could just deal with my insanity, they got their drugs, okay? But none of this situation was healthy, and I was definitely not a friend. It would have been healthier for you to assume that I was a drug dealer. That you come, you make your purchase, and then you go home. Or you go somewhere. Don't stay there where I can torture you and then call it, hey, we're friends, we could do that. Okay, so I want to tell you one more story about my brother. He was also a drug dealer, and so he had this group of friends that he had trained unconsciously, subconsciously. He had trained his friends that whatever he did was fantastic, and they were yes men, and they only sang his praise. And anyone who did not sing his praise, they were kicked out of the friend circle, and you never saw them again. And so the friend circle, when Mike did his cocaine, he would offer his friends a line of cocaine, right? And so they were trained with the cocaine to say Mike was fantastic. So Mike played the guitar. He was not that good. He was an average guitar player. But they said, Mike, you're brilliant. You wait till they discover you. You're going to be a multimillionaire rock star. He liked that feeling when they would say things like that. So he would invite them back. Hey, you going to come over today? And so they would come over, and he would share some of his cocaine, and they would say, Mike, what you just played on the guitar was so beautiful. And then he'll invite them back tomorrow, right? Okay, but what about when Mike was in need of a favor, right? Okay, I'm going to tell you about one of those times. One time Mike is driving his stolen car, okay, and he's drunk and he's high, and he crashes into a family in their Volvo, and they just drop like pins, and they have major injuries, and the cars are totaled, right? Well, Mike turns to his friend, a frenemy, His name was Vance. And Mike says, hey, I have DUIs. Jump in the driver's seat. And that guy, Vance, jumped in the driver's seat, and Mike was in the passenger seat now. So Vance was the one arrested for grand theft auto and for the vehicular damage, and he was sued in civil court for like $900,000, and because he couldn't afford a lawyer, the judgment was granted. Now that doesn't mean that they got $900,000 off of him. That means that for 7 years he could not get credit. He could not rent a home or an apartment, nothing, because he had a $900,000 judgment against him. All for Mike. And what do you think Mike gave him for all that? A line? You want a line of Coke? You want here? Thank you for what you did. Here's a gram. Okay. The point is this: Mike was not grateful, except for momentarily. Vance was totally remorseful. He wished he had never met Mike. He went to jail for Mike for that stolen car, and he had a $900,000 judgment on his credit report. So Mike ruined his life. Mike had ruined many people's lives, okay, in the name of friendship, right? It's crazy that these people thought Mike was his friend. It's insane. So why do I say this stories? Okay, here's another example of frenemies. Okay, when I'm driving a car and I have 3 friends, I have 1 in the passenger seat and 2 in the back seat. The police pull us over. Okay, I hid my dope in the trunk. Okay, because I'm not stupid. But then these idiots in my car, now, they remember they have dope on them. So they're going to hide that dope. Where do you think they're going to put it? They're going to put it under my seat. They're in the back seat. They're going to put it under Alex's seat so that it looks like I slid it from under the front of the seat, but they slid it from the back. Why? Because they want it to look like it's mine, not theirs. If it's found in the back of the car, it's going to be pinned on them. If it's found under my seat, it's pinned on me. Thank you, friends. Now you justified my poor treatment for you for the rest of my knowing you, okay? Yeah, because I know what they're like. They are scandalous. They are fake. They will sell you out and snitch you out, and they will steal your wallet and then help you look for it. They are not to be trusted. So why pretend that we're friends? I'm a drug dealer. I was a drug dealer, not anymore. Not for 14 years. I have not sold any drugs. But back then, they were not my friends. But you want to call yourself my friend, go ahead. But no, you're a customer. You're a drug customer. So don't pretend. Anyone who's treating you bad does not deserve the honor of being your friend. That's a privilege, a high privilege, and they don't deserve it, okay? So what do we do if we find ourselves in this situation? We have to confront the friend, okay? So this is not easy, okay, but it has to be done. So let's say I have a friend and every day he's abusing my friendship in some way. What's an example of abusing my friendship? Well, if we use any of these examples, it could be, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I'm going to say this. If any of the examples that I previously shared with you strike a chord, then you have a frenemy situation. And it's obvious because the stories I just said are obvious. That dude's not your friend if he's treating you that way, okay? So you want to confront them, okay? So you could either wait until the next time they call you a slur or a name, or they're messing with you, and you can say, hey, don't talk to me that way. Talk to me with respect. Are we friends or not? Call them on it. Say, are you my friend or not? Because friends don't treat each other that way. And it's okay for you to just walk away. Say, if that's how you're going to talk to me, I'm out of here. And just go home, man. And wow, they're going to respect you, okay? They are going to respect, or you're not going to come back. And if they call you and say, hey, Joe, what's going on? Why'd you leave like that? Say, hey, you got to talk to me with respect or not at all. If I come back, you're going to talk to me correctly. Okay, good. If not, I won't come back. Okay? That's how you're going to deal with that. Because they're not going to respect anything else. I mean, if Matt had done that, right, I would have had more respect for him. Okay? I don't treat all my friends that way. I only treat the ones who let me treat them that way. Okay? Many friends wouldn't ever let me. They'd defend themselves, and I wouldn't do it to them. But if I say, jump into this seat here and take the rap for me, right? Woo! And you do it. Oh, man. But ask yourself this question. If you wrecked your car and you asked me to jump in the seat, would I do it? See, now, that's the thing, is you're asking them to respect you. And if they say no in any way, they're not your friend, okay? You have to respect me if you want to be friends, okay? So you confront them. You stand up for yourself. You say, hey, the way you talked to me yesterday, you set my hair on fire. Man, I don't think I want that kind of friendship anymore. That was not cool. And so, I'm going to stay away from your place for a few weeks. And if I ever do come back and kick it with you, it's going to be full respect and no any more disrespect. We're not friends anymore. You call them on it. It's going to be hard if they already set your hair on fire, right? But you have to confront them and you have to stand up for yourself. If you can't do that, my advice is to cut the friendship off completely. Because if you're not willing to stand up to them and they're already abusing you, this is not good. This is not healthy. You need to cut the relationship off. If they can't promise to talk to you with respect and treat you with respect, then that friendship's worthless, okay? Okay. So if they continue, you cut them off. Cut them off. Hey, I'm out of here. And you can walk right in the middle. As soon as you walk in and they say, what's up, loser? You say, I don't need to hear this shit. I'm out of here. Just turn around and walk away. Say, I'm out of here. Say, I ain't your whipping boy. Okay? You don't talk to me that way. You just take off. They're going to go, damn, he was in a bad mood today. No, I finally found my voice and say, I don't like the way you're talking to me, and you will talk to me with respect or we're not friends. That's the bottom line. Okay? Next, rule number 3, step 3, make better friends. Okay? Are you so desperate for friends that you let someone abuse you in examples like we've discussed? You're that desperate for friends? I think the minimum requirement to be my friend is to talk to me with respect. If you can't do that, how would this work? It won't. So, that's not a friendship. That's something else. So, make better friends, okay? Friends that don't abuse you, friends that don't rip you off, sleep with your girlfriend, put dope under your car seat. Good friends, okay? Okay, if you decide to ignore my advice and say, you know what, my friends like me, just, yeah, maybe they're a little rough and they pick on me a lot and they get me in chokeholds and knuckle noogies and purple nurples and wet willies and all sorts of disrespect, but they're still my friends. Okay, I'm going to say something to you. You are living life on hard mode. Your life is much more stressful than it should be because your friends are lousy and you are a poor judge of character. Because you're calling these people friends, they're not your friends. And so you're a poor judge of character. My advice would be to make better friends, because your bad friends, they suck. So this is the advice. Basically, if you're in a frenemy situation, the problem is not the frenemies, it's you. You need to do a self-inventory and do a lot of self-reflection and go, what's wrong with me that I need to hang out with people who abuse me? So it's you. Your steps to solve the problem are easy. You confront the frenemy and you say, hey, I let this stuff go on way too long. You've been talking to me disrespectfully. You've been messing with me, harassing me, making me feel like an idiot. It's done. If you do it again, even one time, I'm walking. We'll never be friends again. I'm just done. Okay? So do I have your word that you're going to talk to me with respect and treat me like a true friend would? If you can't get them to say yes and keep that promise, walk away. They're not worth it. Okay? All right. Best of luck. And my honest wish for you is that your friendships are satisfying and healthy.